A selection of excerpts from The Practical Psychic Self-Defense Handbook by Robert Bruce. I class all spiritual forces and beings that have unwholesome effects upon human life as negatives, negs for short, regardless of what type of spirit or energy is actually involved. This helps simplify and desensationalize an otherwise complex, fear-inducing subject. There are many types of negs. They are known by many names. Negs can be thought of as misguided or mischievous spirits, deranged ghosts, demons or jinn, toxic thought forms, whatever you like. What matters most is dealing with them. Negs cannot cross running water unaided. Water has a powerful electrical grounding effect on negs when water is connected to the earth. Tap water flows through pipes from a dam that is heavily electrically grounded. Running water also generates an electromagnetic field of its own, which repels negs. This sensitivity to electrical grounding and EM fields also explains why power cables and some electrical devices cause negs problems. Analogy: the effect running water has on negs can be likened to frequency. Running water can be said to produce a high frequency, and negs are composed of a low frequency. These frequencies do not mix, and so negs are repelled by the water. Add some incense, strong light, and beautiful sounds, all of which affect negs adversely, and you create a strong anti-neg environment. People suffering panic attacks, acute depression, or psychosis will often take very long showers. Some will spend many hours at a time under a shower. They say that they feel better and more in control while under running water. When they are away from the shower, the debilitating problems quickly return. I suggest that people take showers instinctively, in much the same way as some animals head for water when frightened. Also, when hospital patients shower regularly, they rest easier and require less medication. There are no scientific explanations for these well-known phenomena. The common factor here is, of course, direct physical exposure to electrically grounded running water and the frequencies it generates. This has positive effects on the human energy body, and on the physical body and mind. Apart from air spirits, negs cannot fly, contrary to what is commonly assumed. If they could, then running water would not affect them. I have proven this through countless field tests in real-life situations. For example, I have a garden hose on the ground, gushing water. I lead or carry a person who is under a new and severe neg attack over the hose. The attack stops instantly. If we recross the hose, the attack usually begins again, also instantly. If we recross the hose, again the attack stops instantly. If we stay on the safe side of the hose, there are no more neg attack symptoms. So why doesn't the neg just move a few feet and go around the end of the hose to continue its attack? But this never happens. Therefore, logic says that free-roaming negs do not have visual sight that is comparable to human sight. By and large, most types of free-roaming negs do not appear to perceive the world in the same way as we humans do. While all negs are psychic and telepathic, it appears they gain human senses, like sight and hearing, only while overshadowing or possessing living people. Negs do not have eyes and ears per se. If free-roaming negs could see independently, as we do, then a garden hose gushing water on the ground would not form an effective barrier to them, which it does. They would see the end of the hose and simply go around it, but they never do. Negs can use sensitive living beings, human or animal, as vehicles to carry them across running water. This appears to shield them from the effects of running water. How negs are affected: crossing running water has two powerful effects on negs. If a neg is forced into contact with running water, it is instantly demanifested. If a neg stops before contact occurs, it is effectively blocked by a major barrier, like a person standing on the edge of a chasm. All negs are affected by running water and EM grounding. How badly they are affected depends on a number of variables, including how strongly and in what way negs are attached to their living hosts. Negs appear to use humans and animals as shields against running water and grounding effects. They get around in our society by hitchhiking on living beings. Hitchhiking negs, The surface bioelectrical activity of human skin can be compared to the dissipating lightning-caused EM field that covers the entire surface of the Earth, discussed in Chapter 1. I think negs can easily move up over the surface of human skin and, in this way, hitchhike and avoid being affected by running water. The widespread electrically insulated ways of modern life, with insulated floors, shoes, clothing, and vehicles, makes it easier for negs to avoid exposure to electrical grounding. When negs first attach to persons, they usually only have a light and tenuous hold. This hold may, though, still cause neg attack symptoms. This tenuous state will last for several hours or so, until negs have time to reinforce their attachments while people sleep. In this hitchhiking level of attachment, negs are shielded enough to be carried across running water and underground water pipes and insulated from electrical grounding. However, experience tells me that the degree of shielding hitchhiking affords negs is still relatively light, and they are still affected by heavy exposure to running water and electrical grounding. They can be manifested by activities such as swimming, showering, standing over many coils of garden hose, standing or walking over water main pipes and streams, or spending time on shores of rivers, lakes, and oceans. Driving across running water in a motor vehicle has much less effect on negs than crossing the water on foot. Motor vehicles are heavily insulated. Hitchhiking negs will be felt to detach when people are several yards from shorelines of lakes or oceans, or outside shower cubicles, and then reattach when people return and move away from the water. Negs on the shoreline will follow persons moving in the water, so paddling some distance parallel to the shoreline before getting out of the water will not keep negs from reattaching. However, crossing a stream on foot, by either wading or using a low bridge, can remove hitchhiking negs. A free-roaming or hitchhiking neg that is attacking a person either detaches and stops at the edge of a running water danger area, or gets dragged into it and is demanifested. Negs will usually detach in this scenario. Negs will attempt to reattach when the person returns from across the running water. This principle also applies when people enter showers or other areas involving running water and electrical grounding. Draining neg attachments. The length of time involved since exposure and how deeply negs penetrate the energy body and natural defenses of humans are factors with attachments. Long-term exposure to deep electrical grounding is needed to reduce and/or to drain entrenched negs from people. This grounding is best accomplished by sleeping on electrically grounded bedding. More on this later. Running water countermeasures. The practice of counteracting negs by crossing running water is not new. Many people have heard legends saying that witches, vampires, ghosts and demons cannot cross running water. The ancient Celts and Druids knew the power of running water. For example, in years of old, by law, a Celtic doctor's house had to be built next to or over a stream of clean, flowing water. This mandate may seem ridiculous today, but if you take into account that running water is detrimental to negs, it becomes logical. Sick and injured people have low natural defenses to negs, so recuperating in a house close to running water would be beneficial to health. Basic water crossing method. The basic water crossing method is to find any running water available and cross over it, get into it, or stand over it as soon as possible when neg attack begins. Negs are at their weakest when they first attach. In cities and towns, underground water main pipes line every street and flow into all buildings. Taking a walk or going for a drive will often do the trick, though walking is more effective for this purpose. Be sure to cross the road a couple of times to make sure you cross a water main pipe. Crossing rivers and streams, including underground streams, will also work. Crossing or paddling at the edges of lakes and oceans will also help. The symptoms and sensations of neg attack will usually disappear the instant running water is crossed. However, the volume of running water required and the length of exposure needed are directly proportional to how strongly negs are attached. So if you cross running water and still feel a neg attached, seek greater volumes of running water or spend more time directly exposed to running water. Be aware that if you paddle in an ocean or lake, an attacking Nag will usually detach several yards away from the shore. It will wait there and attempt to reattach when you get out of the water.